Hey guys, what's up? It's Jake, and today I'm here to talk to you guys about the specifics regarding where all the loot is in DayZ Standalone. Now, I understand the frustration for players that got the game way back when it first came out, and you're hearing all these rumors of DayZ's doing better, blah blah, it's been 4 years, but yes, the game's doing really good, or like the bugs are starting to get fixed, so you guys are hopping back in the game, you're running around, you spawn on the coast, and you run to Electro, your favorite city, or Berezino, and you're like, where's all the loot? I remember running in the school of Berezino and getting a M4A1. You know, that's for the OG people. You guys that bought it initially, do you guys remember spawning in Berezino? You could go to the police station, get an M4, go to the school, get an M4. We called it a school. It wasn't a school. It was like an office building. Get an M4. You could go, and then you'd run. The whole goal of the game is just to run to the Northeast Airfield and then get an M4 there or fight the people there with an M4. Or a Mosin or whatever, the few guns that run the game. So, stuff has changed since then, which most of you are aware of, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so here we are with a map of the current map of Trinaris, and I'm going to be drawing out some places where loot generally, I don't know, what you guys picture as where loot spawns and how good it is. So, currently in the game, this is going to be Jacob's drawing, and it's not perfectly accurate or even close to accurate, to be honest, just kind of a general perspective of where loot is and just kind of some visuals. So, if you guys remember playing when it first came out, you could go to Berezino and get M4s here, and then right here above Krasnostab, this is the Northeast Airfield, and boom, loot there. Everybody assumed there was loot at the Northwest Airfield, but you guys know nobody really went there. That was too far away. Tizzy was not here, X there. And then if you went to Electro, everybody heard rumors of back in the mod. There was fights going on here. You know, Sniper Hill there, bam, 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 bam. Anyways, and there's, loot all over here. Just Berezino, everybody spawns here, there's loot. Spawns here, there's loot. Guys, everybody just fought on the coast. It was coastal battles, and everybody just tried to get to Krasnostab to fight. Beautiful representation, I know. Thank you. There's a beautiful heart. Thank you, guys. Okay, so here we go again with some more visuals. I know that was very fast, and you guys are like, oh my gosh, I didn't really get that. Oh my gosh, that was so confusing. It's okay. I'm just giving you a general idea of what people thought of with loot back in the day when DayZ first came out. Now, then as the game got updated, we're about 6 months to a year in, loot kind of looked more like this. Like, there was some good loot down here around Belota from the airfield there. You guys knew there was loot around the Pavlovo military base. There was loot around, of course, Northwest Airfield. Everybody kind of learned that, I believe right about this time is when Northeast Airfield completely got changed to where there's no loot there. They take a lot of stuff out. Maybe that was about a year in. Around now, Berezino had some alright loot at the police station still. Northeast Airfield kind of sucked still. Coastal cities were just, it's okay. Like, you can stay along the coast here and have a grand old good time. It was good to go. Check mark. That's not a very good check mark. Anyways, around now, like, seriously, everything on the coast was good. Still, like, you got your loot there, you didn't have to go anywhere, you could fight people on the coast, and this was fun, and people didn't care. They didn't realize they would get bored eventually, but that's how it was, until the devs made the changes to the game to kind of force people to run inland to make their way across the map and head northwest, and let me show you guys what that looks like. Okay, so here we are with the map of what the DayZ looked like once they started forcing people to kind of run to the northwest, or at least that was their goal. So this is a map from 0.60 update, and right about then, 0.59 I believe had some of this involved, but mainly 0.60. This is when real changes started happening. So of course, right here where my mouse is, Northeast Airfield, just completely out of the question. It's terrible loot there, nothing there. And as you can see, like, as the colors change, that, like, the loot gets kind of better. So these areas here, the blue is just, like, not that good. Like, there's a lot of traffic there of players, lots of loot's gone, lots of loot is not respawning because there's players around, etc., etc. There's not even a lot of buildings along the coast. So if you follow the coast here, as you can tell, loot is not that good. Now, if you can tell right here, it starts to get green again. You're like, oh wait, but that's on the coast. Why is it good? Well, the reason is player spawns in 0.60 only went to about Belota. So if you ran out of that zone, you weren't in the player traffic of a bunch of people. Sorry about that stuttering. And so you could get some good loot, or decent loot, I should say. And then also right here, you've got Skalsty Island, or Skalsty Island. I can't really pronounce that. I apologize, but that's going to be happening a lot. I don't pronounce things very well. And we'll talk about that later. Later in the video, we're going to analyze some very specific points on the map where you can find good loot that don't really fit into the schedule. So you move northwest, kind of just from anywhere, any general place you're running inland, you're getting slightly better loot. You still have these hotspots here of, like, decent to good loot. I believe around here is the Pavlovo military base. I think it's actually right there, which it should have red on it. It doesn't. There's right there is actually a military camp in Zelenogorsk. This here's another military camp, and right here I believe is Green Mountain, where there's a tiny bit of military stuff as well. And just these general areas. And this is, I believe, Tizzy up here, or Tizzy area, and it, of course, has lots of good loot as well. So these areas here are high traffic and high loot intensive. Now, we've got more military bases up here. It forces people inland. Now, this is the point where people kind of learned this is where the loot's at. And yeah, they went to these very specific locations, and a lot of people though stayed on the coast. They keep running the coast on these this bad loot area. As you can see, it's this dark green, and they can't find their loot. And they're like, "Where's it at?" You know, because what they think in their head is big city here equals lots of loot, right? Lots of buildings. Even if there's more players in Electro, people think, "Oh, well, there's so many buildings, there's no way all the loot's gone." Well, it still doesn't work like that. The DayZ developers have got it set up to where loot is going to spawn in higher quantity, and honestly, from what we can tell and what I've done my own personal research and data collecting, as in just looting over and over in these northwestern cities. These cities up here have a higher quantity and quality of loot, from what I can tell. And if anybody can disagree with that based on their own research, I'd love to hear about it. And I don't mean just, I ran up there once and there wasn't good loot. I mean, legitimately, tell me. So, yeah, you need to be running inland. You need to be checking these inner cities. And yeah, so let's move on to 0.61 and even 0.62, what it kind of looks like more so now. So let's switch over to this map here, and this is more so of what it looks like to the current day. So same idea. The coastal cities here, that dark green, it's just there's not much good loot, even up to this area here where nobody spawns. They just don't want you going there because you're not getting interaction. There's no wolves. There's just not much to do up there. It's a cool place to go, cool scenery, but just not the place they want you to be going for the way the game works. Like I said, they've even pushed it more to a northwestern standpoint. It's not just as simple as move to northwest airfield like it was in 0.60. They want you moving all the way up here. So it's like, if you're the reason this is, it discourages people from going to the coast fully geared and fighting. And people still do it all the time. Kamishovo is like the #1 PvP point in the entire game, and that's just the way people work. That's a brain thing. It's not a game thing. And that's hard to change. But it discourages that, because to get the best loot in the game, you're going all the way through here. I wish I could be drawing a line. All the way through here in the green, all the way through the red, and then moving up to Tizzy in this brighter red where it's even better. You don't have to go that way, but I'm saying that if you want the military loot and the best loot, that's the way to go. Now you'll notice, like, oh gosh, what the heck? Why is all this in dark red too? Or why is all this in red? It's not even military zones. Well, that's what I'm saying about the higher quantity and higher quality. Before, as we looked in 0.60, all of this area was just surrounded in green. If it wasn't the northwest airfield area, it's just green. Move on to 0.61, and you're looking at, that red extends all here. I mean, these areas here, you go to like a building up in this area, like you find a stray set of like 5 houses, you may find a Winchester, some Winchester rounds, 2 cans of food, and a backpack. I don't know. I'm not guaranteeing you that. I'm just saying your chances of walking into those houses and finding the loot I just mentioned here are, let's say, I'm just going to assign a random number, 5%. Down here, it's like 0.5% to 1%. I mean, super low chances. I'm pulling those numbers out of my butt. I'm just saying your chances here of finding good loot are way higher of the way they have the system set up. So yeah, that's how that works, and I believe that's how it currently works still in 0.62. Now, we're going to move on to some very specific locations that have specifically good loot. Alright, so we're back on this map again where, it shows, this is like the current loot, 0.61 and 0.62, what it basically looks like overall. There was probably some few changes between 0.61 and 0.62, but overall it's pretty good. So like I said, bad loot on the coast here, dark green, run inland right here, I cannot stress that enough. Good loot up here, good loot, yes, very good loot. Anyways, and then down here, of course, we have the prison island. So it wasn't on the map, that was a terrible arrow, but this place is interesting because it used to have very good loot, military loot. It still has some kind of military loot, but it's its own special thing. It's like the devs aren't sure what they want to do with it, it seems like, because the idea is they want you to get off the coast and run up here and experience things and not get like sniped at the coast, etc. Although, like I said, it still happens all the time. And so they kind of, I don't know, it's like they're not sure what they want to do with this prison island, because instead of encouraging you to go this way, it's like, yeah, everybody should go to the northwest corner of the map, unless you want to swim across the ocean and get hypothermia, but then you can still get some AK-47s or M4s or some really good military loot. It's a very confusing thing, and I feel like they don't know what they want to do with it. What's weird about it, I know I said I was going to talk about good places with good loot, but we're starting out with a place with bad loot. Prison Island, the only thing good about it now is it spawns the very special, I believe, like the dark gas mask. It's the only place in the game you can find the dark gas mask. Don't know why. Like I said, I think it's something to do with they don't know what to do with it currently, but I hope they change it to have better loot, because I think it's a really cool place. There's a lot of design that went into it, and I like the place a lot. Moving on to places with good loot, weirdly. So, some random cities scattered about in this green area here actually have fairly good loot. Personally, I love the city of Staroye, which is right here. There's like a military tent zone right. You can see like right there in my circle. There's a dark green spot. That's because there's a military zone there. It's one of the only places in here that has some good military. There's one right here. There's one up here, and there's one right here at Pavlovo military base. There's probably a few more scattered about. These places I've circled have specifically good loot because there's little sets of tents there, military tents. There's also a few outside of Electro. Anyways, those places there, of course, are the most common, what I'm calling, like, they're unorthodox. Unorthodox means, unusual. So these are the most common unorthodox locations for loot that everybody kind of knows about. Some more, I made a video about this one here. This one's in the dark red, but it has an especially weird, there's just a spawn of about, 100 cars in a row right here. Sure, you guys might be thinking, yeah, it's because there's some tents there. No, there's 100 cars in a row right here of just amazing loot. There's also another location right up here, like that, and then right about here, I believe it is, by Tizzy. Not in Tizzy, there's another, these 3 red places I've kind of outlined have, a really good spawn of a lot of cars where you can find general loot that isn't military that's really good. So check those out for sure. And then another place with really odd loot that a few people are starting to hear about on the Reddit and on YouTube videos is Skaldsty Island. I still can't pronounce that. But this place here is really odd because it's the only place around this dark green loot area where you actually see the Skaldsty Island, like in lighter green, like this area here. And why that is, I don't know for sure. I believe it's because it's actually a player spawn, and they want people to be able to spawn there. They want to have these islands, and I don't know if that's for future purpose of boats in the game, and they want people to know about the islands. I don't know for sure why that is, but I think it's because they don't want people that spawn Skaldsty Island to just be like, OMG, I got the worst spawn in the game, kill myself, literally, and then they use the kill myself glitch, and they glitch and kill themselves, or they jump off a cliff. No, they want you to spawn here and realize there's actually good loot in this island. For some reason, and I've experienced it myself, give it a try, you guys, swim over there on like a lower to medium, even high pop server, whatever it is, and you'll find guns, you'll find Mosins, you'll find Sporters, you'll find Repeaters, you'll find 357 ammo. I mean, you will find stuff on this island, and it's very weird. You'll find lots of backpacks too. One spawn I got there, I found a Mosin, a Winchester, and 2 backpacks, and a good amount of food, and I believe a splitting axe as well, right before I left the island, and I had ammo for 1 or 2 of those guns. Crazy stuff. The island has good stuff, don't know why, but that's that. So, yeah, another place back in the, I forgot to mention this earlier in the video, but you guys remember, there's a location about, I believe it's right around here, the Riffy. This is a bad place for loot. Used to have military stuff, M4s there. I don't know why, but it's a really cool crashed ship that they've just kind of been like, everybody should forget about this. The ship crashed, don't touch it, don't go there. There's absolutely just crap loot there. I mean, you'll find maybe 3 items total in the entire ship, and they're usually crappy stuff. So yeah, that's that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about this idea of where the loot is in general. For the future, I expect that, we know that the beta will have some changes to the CLT, or Central Loot Economy, or CLE. I don't know why I said CLT. But yeah, also they may have some new spawns in the game, and hopefully they fix the Prison Island when the beta comes. I don't know. That's just a goal I want, because I think the Prison Island is really cool. Let me know what you guys think about the economy in the game of loot. What do you think? What kind of changes do you think should go on? What do you think? That was a really weird way to say that. And make sure to drop some likes, drop some comments, and drop some subscribes. And make sure to know that I read every single comment on the video. And there's a good chance I'll respond to your comment. Thanks for watching. Hope to see all of you in my next video.